Welcome to Missing Chronicles, where we delve into the heartbreaking and enigmatic mysteries surrounding disappearances. Here, we will immerse ourselves in the world of unsolved cases, thrilling search efforts, and intricate journeys. The goal of this channel is to spread awareness, foster community connections, and provide support to the families and loved ones of the missing. Join me as we embark on a suspenseful journey, hoping to uncover the truth behind these missing chronicles. Help us sustain and grow Missing Chronicles by becoming a patron on Patreon. Your contribution ensures that we can continue our investigations, share compelling stories, and work towards a world where no one is forgotten. Join us in making a lasting impact today. Unbelievable journey, 9 days lost in the enigmatic Cascade Mountains. Giovanna G.F. Futa, who lived with her parents Christian and Bob, as well as her brother Dominic in Maple Valley, Washington, had recently graduated from Tahoma High School. In July of 2020, she was unemployed but taking summer classes online at Bellevue College. When Gio was only a couple of years old, her 18-year-old stepsister Callie Fueta was tragically killed by an Amtrak train. Despite her young age, the incident seems to have had a lasting impact on Gia. Gia was also active on social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, where she would post videos and interact with friends. On July 24, 2020, Gia left her home in Maple Valley around 8 in the morning. She took her 2008 Toyota Corolla and did not inform anyone in her family where she was going. When Gia did not return home that night, her parents began to worry as they were unable to reach her via phone calls or texts. On July 5, 2020, Gia's parents, Kristen and Bob, reported her as missing to the King County Sheriff's Office. At the time, deputies noted that calls to Gia's cell phone would go straight to voicemail. Her parents reported she was not on any medications and had no history of drugs, alcohol, prostitution, or any history of self-harm attempts. Gia's mother Kristen, however, indicated that Gia had been behaving erratically lately and that her disappearance was extremely out of character. They said that Gia never responded to any calls or texts they had sent in the prior 24 hours and showed no activity on her social media. Bob Fueta had even reached out to a number of Gia's friends, but none of them were able to get in touch with her either. Bob told deputies that Gia had had several mood swings lately, from being very social and happy to not talking to anyone and isolating herself. Bob said that she had struggled with ideas of self-harm in the past but he wasn't aware of any within the last few years. He noted that Gia recently collected several pictures of her deceased stepsister and had been looking at them for several days. Deputies learned that Gia was last seen wearing a red sweatshirt with blue jeans and a black backpack. At the same time, the sheriff's office also received information from a second reporting party, a man named Eddie Goodman who was a friend of Gia. He told authorities that he thought Gia might be traveling to Sacramento, California to see a male friend named Jeremy and also had some text messages that supported this. Gia's Toyota Corolla would be found by the Washington State Department of Transportation that same day, July 25, at around 7 p.m. It was located on Highway 2, in the Cascade Mountains east of the town of Skykomish and near a rail yard. The vehicle was parked on the shoulder of the road with Gia's purse and other items still inside the car cab. The Toyota was then impounded so that it could be thoroughly searched. And it was later determined that the car had run out of gas. There was nothing in the car that indicated Gia might have gone hiking and also nothing suspicious. Many items were found in the vehicle, including Gia's purse, ID, multiple pairs of sunglasses, a black gym bag, soccer equipment, clothing, hygiene items, books, and what appears to be a pamphlet from the memorial for her stepsister Callie. Detectives also swabbed the steering wheel and gear shifter so they could be tested for DNA. Gia's parents were puzzled by the location of her vehicle as Gia was not familiar with the Stevens Pass area. This region is also a cell phone dead zone, so even if Gia had her phone, she would have been unable to send or receive calls. The sheriff's office subsequently sent out a media release asking for tips from people who may have been driving in the area around the time Gia went missing. Many people would end up sending in their dashcam footage to the sheriff's office. Some of them captured Gia's vehicle parked near Highway 2, but none of the footage really helped detectives further the investigation or assist in finding her. The sheriff also received many tips about the case, including from psychics claiming they knew what happened. Some tips hinted that Gia may have been picked up by human traffickers. Afterwards, the investigation immediately took a two-pronged approach, with one group physically searching in and around the area where Gia's car was found. They set up a base camp at the rail yard located off of Highway 2 and began searching along the roadsides. The other group began looking into the possibility of foul play or criminal activity. Early on, the King County Sheriff described the disappearance as suspicious. All of the facts up to that time seemed to point to a possible abduction scenario. That being the case, detectives began to search for potential suspects. On July 26, detectives followed up on the lead that Gia may be traveling to Sacramento, California to see a male friend by the name of Jeremy. They were able to get in touch with Jeremy, who said that he dated Gia a couple of years ago and that they had a dysfunctional long-distance relationship. He had not seen her in person since August of 2018. When asked about the last time he talked with Gia, Jeremy said that he had seen a post on her Instagram saying that she was going to visit him in California, so he called her around 5:30 in the morning the day she disappeared to find out what she was talking about. He told detectives that Gia did not sound right and he thought she might have been on drugs or having mental issues. They also exchanged messages on Instagram, which he described as bizarre. Reviewing the messages, they certainly don't make much sense, with seemingly random words and lots of emojis. Jeremy told authorities that when they dated, she was not the type to be using any kind of illegal drugs. When detectives asked Jeremy where he thinks Gia might have gone, he stated that she enjoyed hiking and may have gone into the woods to clear her mind. On July 28, detectives began looking for gas stations between Skycomish and Leavenworth in order to obtain potential surveillance footage of Gia being in those areas. They also went to Gia's home and spoke with their parents about her daily habits and friends. While they were there, detectives also looked around in Gia's room, where they noticed she had laid out some meaningful items on her bed in a sort of display. This included pictures of Gia's deceased stepsister. Detectives found a laptop and iPad in the room and took them in order to look at the hard drives. On July 29, detectives located a video of Gia stopping at a coffee stand near Index called Espresso Chalet at around 11 a.m. on July 24. They spoke with the owner, who provided them with access to their DVR, which had clips of Gia and her car. Gia's parents were present at the time to confirm the video showed their daughter. Here is the security footage that shows this incident. The video has no sound, but it is an interesting example showing Gia's erratic behavior at the time. The footage shows Gia perusing in a small outdoor shop at the chalet. Gia is in the red sweatshirt. She stands around a while before approaching a rack of Bigfoot keychains at the coffee stand. After struggling to get the keychains off the stand, it appears that Gia simply takes the whole row and walks off suddenly. The barista seems unsure about what to do. The owners of the chalet then approach and talk with the barista. During this time, it appears that Gia actually went to walk around on a short trail that surrounds the chalet. We next see Gia as she comes out of the woods and into the parking lot. She is no longer wearing her red sweatshirt and is being followed closely by one of the owners of the chalet. It appears the two are exchanging words. It is uncertain what was said, but eventually, Gia gets in her vehicle. At this point, both owners and the barista approach the car. Gia then tries to leave. The owners approach one more time, perhaps in an attempt to stop her, but she drives out of the coffee stand area in a hurry. On July 31, detectives reviewed data found on the iPad that was taken from Gia's room at her home. In the iPad, they found a recent chat string between Gia and a man named Edward. It seemed to the detectives that the two may have been in a relationship, so they began following this as a potential lead. They were able to find and contact this Edward, a man who lived in Bellevue, Washington. He said he had recently met Gia at church and she became extremely clingy. He said that it appeared to him that she wanted a relationship, but he did not. He continued to talk with her via text but had only met her in person once during church. He had been slowly attempting to stop communication, and once Gia stopped sending him messages, he assumed that she finally got the clue. In reality, she disappeared. He said he had no idea where she may have gone. Detectives believed Edward's story and did not think he was involved in Gia's disappearance. The searchers that were on the ground actively looking for Gia every day spent much of their time on the outskirts of Highway 2, searching between Skycomish and Stevens Pass. A canine searcher was deployed in the area where Gia's vehicle was found and was able to track her scent west toward Skycomish for about 1.5 miles until the scent abruptly stopped. Due to the thick forest in the area, helicopters were virtually useless when it came to searching from the air. Because of this, the entire search was essentially performed on foot. On August 1st, a SAR team was searching the steep hills in the area of Scenic and Surprise Creeks. This area is near to where Gia's car was found. At around 1 p.m. and about a mile up Scenic Creek, searchers reported finding a trail of Gia's belongings on the ground, including her Bible, shoes, socks, notebook, jacket, Gia's iPhone, and a backpack. All of the items were found in a rather quick succession, almost like a trail of breadcrumbs leading up the mountain and following the path of Scenic Creek. Gia's name was written on some of the items, and the searchers realized she was wandering around the wilderness as there were no established trails in the immediate area. The detective on scene, Ed Christian, wrote about the discovery in his report, saying, "On Saturday, August 1st, the search area that was being searched was a rugged and steep area just southwest of Highway 2. The eastern part of this area had been searched before, but with a low probability of detection due to the terrain and vegetation. At 12:42 p.m., a search team searching up Scenic Creek from U.S. 2 located a set of Nike tennis shoes along with several Bigfoot keychains about 3/4 of a mile up. This is a very steep ravine. At 2:36 p.m., searchers found Gia sitting on a rock in the stream. She was barefoot, only wearing jeans and a wet t-shirt. She was confused and incoherent. Her feet were scraped and cut up. Her shoes were brought up to her. She was then slowly escorted back down to base camp. At the time she was found, the only thing Gia could say was, "I don't know where I am." A searcher told reporters that she hadn't eaten in so long, she wasn't making any sense. An ambulance was sent to the rail yard off of Highway 2 near Scenic Creek to meet up with the SAR team that was en route with Gia. When they arrived, they took Gia to Evergreen Hospital in Monroe for treatment of cuts, scratches, and dehydration. Detective Christian's report continues, her actions and appearance were consistent with somebody that had been trapped in a ravine for 8 days. A huge contributing factor to her survival was the weather. She was found at 3,800 feet. There was a late snow melt, and water was abundant in Scenic Creek. The weather during the week was very warm. The King County Sheriff's Office would say that it is extremely rare for someone to be found alive after such a length of time. Detective Christian, who had a long career involving many search and rescues, would say that he had only encountered one other case where an individual was found to still be alive after so long. Gia was reunited with her family, and despite being missing for around 9 days, she was in remarkably good condition. She was treated for dehydration and minor injuries at the hospital and was released a few days later. Gia's family was extremely grateful for the efforts of the search and rescue teams and the community's support during the search. In the aftermath of Gia's disappearance, her family has been very private, and Gia herself has not spoken publicly about her ordeal. It's clear that she was going through a difficult time mentally and emotionally when she disappeared. It's also clear that she was incredibly lucky to have been found when she was. This case is a reminder of the importance of mental health and the need for understanding and support for those who are struggling. It also highlights the incredible work of search and rescue teams who put their lives on the line to find and help people in situations like this. Thank you for watching Missing Chronicles. We have explored captivating stories and searched for answers behind the vanished. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with our latest videos. Share these videos to spread the message and assist affected families and loved ones. If you have any information related to the cases we've discussed, please leave them in the comments section. Together, we can make a difference. See you in the next Missing Chronicles.